Go exactly. Hey, Biggles, that was fast.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
thank you for sending the replay, by the way, because, that says something
You're
about you
welcome.
as a player. You're like, hey, I want to show you my view, and you're cool with getting some feedback and talking through stuff. So, I mean,
Always.
that's how you learn.
Biggest thank
So-
you in the world.
Oh my god, and you've got,
Put up a
Pirate Guy
smoke
or
screen.
something. No, you've got,
Okey-dokey.
Doc Brown. Back to the Future guy.
Well, like the first question is why a T-22? Not saying it's the wrong choice, not saying it's the best, the worst, but there's a reason you're bringing a T-22, and I'm just curious why a T-22.
Okay, a lot of teams in our experience bring along something like the Mutsuki with them. T-22 has the ability, obviously, with its hydro to see through islands quite extensively in these small maps with small caps. You can keep a lot of the cap covered. You also outgun the Mutsuki, so if you do find yourself in a situation where you can do some damage to the Mutsuki, you're going to be able to take quite a few of his hit points away with the assistance of your battleship or cruiser, whichever you have behind you as well. That coupled with the RPF, you can then track which way he's going, etc. So even though he outspots you, it kind of allows you to dictate what the enemy DD is going to do in those situations, or at least have knowledge of what he's decided to do.
The T-22 is a fantastic choice for Tier 5.
Agreed.
I mean, I completely agree with everything you said. I just, maybe somebody here is just getting into this. Maybe they're wondering why. So, I completely agree. You get to dictate the engagement realistically with any of the destroyer because you have the hydro.
Yes.
And here's the best reason to play T-22, because the guns actually flick you off. You cannot
And
unsee
it's
this
German.
anymore.
I
You
hadn't
cannot
noticed
unsee this
that.
anymore. Yep. This is one of the few ships where the guns do that. They raise all the way up, and I remember seeing that the first time. I'm like, this ship is flicking me off. Like, what the hell?
No, I hadn't actually noticed that, and I've been playing this for 2 seasons now.
There we go. Trying to get the camera back. Thank God for explaining. I'm super new. Yeah, I mean, if you have questions, ask. Permadex. That's why we're doing this. So, okay. I made a comment here. I'm sure your team said we want you to go to A after you get B, yes?
But yes, it's standard practice.
Okay. So, the reason why I feel like that's not a good idea is because when you do that, you lose vision on anything that's behind this island. You simply can't spot for your team. So you guys have no idea what the deployment is of the enemy team, other than having radio location telling you, okay, something is along this line.
Right.
On the minimap.
If you carry on until they actually make the move into Bravo, you'll see that I was able to keep eyes on the Vladivostok. And keep an awareness of whereabouts he was.
Well, yes.
With the aid of the other 2 battleships, which helps me with information as well. But I get what
course.
you're saying.
But take a look at the
Well-
time right now. It's 8:35 on the clock. Now, if you had gone this way, okay, what I would do is I would park myself with my bow pointing this way. So I can run. I've got an escape route as necessary. But let's go back and let's take a look. What are you catching from this? I'm sorry, the UI kind of... There we go. I just slowed the game down a ton. What are you catching? You're catching every ship that's trying to go to sea, battleship-wise. You're not catching their destroyer, right? But you're going to catch whatever battleship's going that way.
Yeah, at that point, my RPF had flicked over towards the island close to the Charlie Cap, which obviously I'd conveyed to my team so that they understood what information I was seeing via RPF. We do have 2 ships that are headed over there, so they're now informed that something is going in their direction. The sheer fact that I'm not going to get co-capped inside the Bravo, i.e. the enemy DD is not going to go in there, that also gets conveyed to the enemy team as well, to the rest of my team, so they also know there's every chance the DD is going to Alpha or Charlie. With the RPF that I detected, we're able to deduce that actually the destroyer is going to Charlie, because I see nothing in the 6 line, but I know something is going to be there because my RPF is pointing there. So it has to be the DD going there. So information is given to my teammates, but we don't know what is going around the Alpha Cap at this point. We have no clue. I've had no RPF indication over there. So therefore, my priority is to try and find for my Massachusetts and my Novo, I won't butcher the rest of the name, to try and find out where the rest of the ships are. I'm a DD, I'm about information gathering for my team.
But what I'm getting at is the
somebody
only
wants the
information
music-
you gave to. I already turned it down.
Oh, okay.
And Dak, let me know if it's better. The problem with that is I understand what you're saying and using radiolocation and stuff. The problem though is you're only giving your team information of where one ship out of the 5 is most likely going to be going. The destroyer is going to sea. Okay, that's good knowledge for the team. Who's backing up that destroyer? Like, you don't know. And if you want to go and grab A, sorry, go ahead.
No, you are correct. I fully accept that.
Okay, so let's go into the next stage. Now, you said you wanted to spot A for your team.
Eventually, yeah. Primarily,
okay.
it's about getting the cap and making sure the cap is secure.
See,
Okay.
I'm gonna say, like, if this is the game plan, I'm fine with it. Like, you're limited on time. You need to get caps fast to force the enemy to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the minute I see C's being flipped, like you've already deduced, it's got to be the Minakaze. It's got to be the DD. Well, I'm never going to fight him. I'm not going to be engaging him. So as soon as I get B, I need to get into A as fast as possible. Because you get into A because you need to come back to B because you know the Minakaze has to go to B. He's going to be caught out in the open while you're going to have an island to hopefully limit the engagement of whatever's backing up the Minakaze.
Yes, in theory. In previous seasons, you see the way my RPF is pointing, where Zath has it paused at the moment?
Oh yeah, it's on the Vlad.
That tells me, yeah, that tells me there's something in the 4-5 line, more than likely the 4 line. In the past, we've had it that an enemy BB pushes forward and comes against the flat of the island and either sits facing Charlie or sits facing Alpha. So by keeping the DD there for longer than what seems necessary to do so and not gaining information, it ensures that I haven't left the Bravo cap just as an enemy battleship enters and therefore starts flipping the cap from us, leaving me over at the Alpha cap. With the range of the Hydro, which I'm going to be popping very soon, I should imagine, that allows me to then see through the island and see any battleship that enters the cap, which again is about information. It may not seem obvious, but this is from the experience we've had from getting to the finals on a couple of occasions in this competition and eventually winning it last season. So it's all based on experience of what the enemy teams do, and no disparity to our opposition. They weren't what we considered a threat in terms of their opposition. Maybe that's hubris talking, I don't know. But at this point, my standard role is to stay there and to try and gather information. I'm going to ask my team leader eventually when the cap's flipped, do you want me to take Alpha? My team leader is in the Massachusetts, very good player. He will confirm, yes, he does. I will then make the move to Alpha.
Okay, so I put on the mini map here the range of your Hydro. It's this arc right here.
Yes.
So you said you would put your Hydro on. I'm curious why you wouldn't just wait until the cap starts to get contested to use your Hydro, because then it's available for longer, and you are spotting whatever ship that is, because you're assuming they're going to come from this spot, right?
That's one assumption. The other assumption is that actually they're pushing up to the island at the left-hand side of your arc. That would be in
This island
E4.
right here.
It's slightly further south. That one there, yeah. Because we've had ships do that in the past, where they will sit against that island on either side of it. We've seen teams do it on either side of that island. So at the moment, my Massachusetts and Novo, they can't see anything that's going on over that side. So the Hydro, by clipping over that island or close to that island, has the possibility of getting us extra information. I mean, obviously, this isn't my final resting position. I'm not going to sit right there. I am going to get myself flat against the island, because if I get hydroed or anything happens to me, I stand a chance of being shot by something, because this island's quite low-lying that I'm coming up against.
It's a very dangerous spot to sit at, yes.
It is, yeah.
What on the enemy team has Hydro?
At this particular point, I'm not thinking in terms of what has hydro. I'm thinking about doing my job, which is to get this cap. That's my immediate thing.
What?
Then you've got relocation pings.
Yep.
The one thing that you could have done is move out slowly at a quarter speed with your face, because you do have smoke, you do have the Hydro, so if it is that close,
Listening for echoes. Genius.
So you see
hope
now,
to God the first shot doesn't delete me.
So you see now, I popped hydro, I popped the engine boost. I'm going for it. I know where the target is. I'm looking in that direction, ready to launch torps down there if they're going to be viable.
Judging by my patented mega-deductive method,
Yeah,
So,
the
and
thing
this
is,
still at a point.
enemy force. Look,
Okay,
You
there I
came-
pick up the renown.
battleship.
so there's a bit of a gap on this island right here where Vlad or somebody else could have been. You came out at full speed broadside with an island behind you, so good luck trying to dodge or anything. The reason I'm bringing that up is Putin's comment about coming out at a quarter means that if you're coming out here, and let's say there is a battleship or something else that's going to spot you right here, then
Yeah. It's
you
dangerous.
spot him and you can immediately smoke and be dark. Versus
Yeah.
you're at full speed and you say, oh crap, right? And you got to hit the reverse or whatever, and or try to beat yourself. So
Yeah, very valid points. Yeah.
that's what Putin's comment was about. Okay, let's continue.
Yep. And to be clear, Pierre, putting no offense to any of your comments, I'm quite happy to take advice, etc., wherever I can get it.
But listen,
job.
it's so much easier to sit back and watch you guys and be like, oh my god, he's screwing up. Why? How does he not know this? Compared to when you're actually in the battle, guys. Trust me, like nerves take so much into play in this game.
Yeah.
You just don't understand in the middle of this battle, like your nerves will overtake you sometime.
Now, this guy surprised me, the Scharnhorst being there. That is a genuine surprise. I was not expecting him to be there. Nothing had told me to be there. I mean, obviously the RPF flips to him. But yeah, he basically sold me a dummy with the RPF. I thought that was going to be a ship pushing up to the island that I spoke about, but I had a feeling that Vlad would go into the cap, or at least something was going to go into the cap. Scharnhorst being there was a genuine surprise.
Which I find interesting because you said earlier that usually battleships will play around this island or this way.
Yeah,
And if you look at the mini-map, there's one on
I was-
each.
Yeah, I was not expecting him to be quite so far forward, quite so quickly, and for it to be a Scharnhorst. A Scharnhorst is dangerous, obviously, because it's got the secondaries. A lot of battleships, like if they put the Vlad there, the Vlad secondaries are going to have a hard time getting me. Scharnhorsts aren't, especially the 43. That's something I don't want to face. I would sooner go one-on-one with the Vlad than a Scharnhorst any day.
Right.
I think you bring up one point that, like, I think Zathamy failed to mention at the time. Why didn't the Vlad just go into B cap and go flat up against the island, knowing that you're now in A?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a misplay by the Vlad. Big misplay.
Well, he figured he's probably you just got I paused it here because you just got spotted. Up until this point, they probably thought you were still in B. Because that's where I would send a T-22. That's where anybody would send a T-22, behind the island where you can hydro, like you said. The Vlad is stopping. If you look at where the Vlad is, and when I drew the arc before, that's just outside, I believe, the arc that I drew before of your hydro range. So
Was, yeah.
the Vlad is purposely staying there because he's dark. If he goes flat up against the island, he's giving the enemy team information, right, where he is.
From my
So-
point of view, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
The Vlad at that point is still pushing forwards. So I launch preemptive torpedoes, which don't actually get to him, because the Vlad has now seen shots from our Massachusetts and our Novo heading towards the Renown. He's also then just been hard spotted by me coming round the corner, so he slams on the brakes, which is probably a good thing. Not intended, but certainly a misplay by himself. He could have realized by that point I carry on pushing forwards and get into that cap, which, okay, eventually he does, but it at least delayed him for a little bit. And as you've said, I'm quite sure many times this afternoon, points mean everything in this competition. Caps are great, but points mean everything.
Absolutely. So you said this to the Sharnor surprised you. I want to mention something else too. When you saw the Vlad, and your radio location is pointing this way, that tells you that there's something that's closer than the Vlad's 7-kilometer detection.
Yep.
So as soon as I saw that, I would put 2 and 2 together and say, I need to be backing off. Instead,
Yep.
you were focusing on firing your torpedoes. That caused you to go sideways here and go into the cap full speed sideways. Right in
Yes.
front of the Sharnors.
Yep. misplay, call it whatever you want, call it panic in the heat of the moment. At the time on the Discord, there is obviously a lot of chatter going on. We are a very well-disciplined team in terms of our communications, but sometimes in the heat of the conversation, listening to all of the information that's being passed backwards and forwards, you make a misplay. And yeah, I was not expecting the Scharnhorst to be there. It could have been far, far worse than it ended up being, thankfully. And in future, that's something that definitely I'll kind of be waiting for. I could have also waited until my Massa and Novo had come forward just a little bit more, and they would have engaged the Scharnhorst. That would have encouraged me to take a deeper route into the Alpha Cap. Still would have done it because we need that cap. We need it locking down at some point. The Novo and Massa wouldn't really be going in there because of the position of Vlad. So the play had to be made. It probably could have been made better.
I mean, coming out at a quarter speed, potentially could have set up for the Scharnhorst to commit a little bit more for torpedoes from you.
Agreed.
Right? Like, I mean, like these,
You wouldn't have gotten
like,
spotted for one.
These are small things because, like you say, your mass and the Russian battleship, because God knows nobody can pronounce it,
Vladivostok.
would have, like I said, nobody can pronounce it, would have eventually spotted the Scharnhorst for you.
Yes.
All right, let's continue.
Completely agree with you on those points.
This mix of chemicals should provide
Scharnhorst wasn't even
optimal
expecting you to pop up there. He was ready for a shot on the Massa.
Yep.
And he's shooting AP
So-
too, so that's kind of fun.
Yep. Smoke ups go dark as quickly as possible. He's going to carry on because he's fired. He's obviously going to remain visible to my battleships behind me, so that's not really a problem.
Why are you
Now
guys... Sorry, go ahead.
No, police yourself.
Close up.
Why are you guys so focused on AB here? Why didn't you focus instead on BC?
Because this has been our play, and this is something that we've done the majority of times we've been in the competition. We do have an option to change the play around, especially if we're playing against a team that we think will have scouted out one of our replays. And yeah, my shot caller is probably not going to be happy that I'm here talking to you, but I don't care. I'm the team leader, so I get to choose where I go and what I say. Yeah, so we do have options, but we tend to focus one cap more than the other on most of the maps that we do.
We've seen that strategy work very well today, so...
Yeah.
Listen,
get
if it works, if it ain't broken, why try to fix it, right?
Yep.
Just try to, basically this is just cleaning it up is what we would call it.
So this is the next part here. Putin and I at some point and later we say, why isn't he shooting? Why aren't you shooting? I mean, you've got a perfect shot here on the Vlad. You can get a fire going, force a DCP, stuff like that, and you're not going to be spotted while you're shooting.
Ironically, looking at it from this now, what this Vlad is doing, not shooting, is actually the right choice.
Why?
You start shooting him, he goes forward to the island, and now you can't shoot him nowhere. To where if you just leave him be, he keeps reversing, not getting on the cap.
Right. By this point, I was very aware that the Vlad had fired HE at our Atlantico, which means he's more than likely going to keep HE loaded.
He's ready for you.
If I open fire on him, what if he takes a chance and blind fires me and hits me, causes damage, takes out a torpedo tube? I'm only in a T-22. My torpedo tubes won't have a lot of hit points anyway. To me, it's not worth it. He is got very few choices there. He can either stay where he is and know that something is going to come round the corner more than likely, or he can push up against the island in the Bravo cap. I don't want to give him the option of looking at me. I can see my Atlantico is about to go behind an island where the Vladivostok is going to have to do something. It's down to him to find something to do. I don't want to be that something that he does.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I like how you said your Atlantico, that's Miss Claire, I believe, told you that he fired HE. That's I want to highlight that for a minute because in competitive play, that kind of information is crucial. Not I'm getting shot at necessarily. It's the Vladivostok shot HE at me. There's a very important nuance there because you're telling your destroyer player to be more cautious and careful. I am curious as to why Miss Clara pulled farther forward when, hey, there's a Vladivostok that just literally stopped and tried to Homer Simpson back into the, behind the island. But They kept on going, so.
It's Miss Clara. She's fearless, especially in her Atlantico. She loves that ship to pieces. We tend not to question her judgment when she's in that ship. The 3 or 4 seasons that she's played in the Clash of Classes, that's the ship she takes. It's her Mercedes-Benz. So we leave her to drive that the way that she sees fit. We have full confidence in her abilities. We know what she can do.
Gotcha.
Now, like, this flag colossally, in my opinion, messed up. He should have W'd to the island whether you were shooting or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because that puts him nose into Miss Clara in the key.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And on the cap, more importantly, safe from your nasty torpedoes.
So why are you continuing?
Okay, here you can see my smoke is running out. I had to go into reverse at that point because if the Vlad had a push forwards, I would have gotten myself potentially into detection range. If you could just pause here. At this particular point, I'm looking at my torpedoes. I'm now asking my Massachusetts, my shot caller, do you want me to take the long route round to the A cap? Because we've already spotted torpedoes by this point over at the Charlie cap. I'm pretty certain they'd been spotted by then. So that's confirmation that the DD is in that area. And my worry is if I try and take the short route across to Bravo, if Vladivostok pushes forward or Scharnhorst sticks his nose out, there's every chance I'm going to get spotted. And again, face the chance losing torpedo tubes, losing hit points. So by this point, I'm already explaining I'm going to take the scenic route. I'm going to go behind my battleships. That was a conscious decision by myself. Rightly or wrongly, I would
No,
that's the right decision.
That's 100% the only decision.
Yeah, and there's nothing. I don't think Put and I commented on that part at all. I think we said something about like why are you loitering so long? Like you reversed again when you know the Vlad is reversing here. Like to me, you could have just gone right, and that's seconds.
I'm waiting for the decision at that point. I could make the self-conscious decision of I'm just going for it, but then what happens if we're in a situation where hold on, the T-22 is needed here? The responsibility is on my shot caller. We have 4 shot callers in the clan, and the way that I teach my players when I do training for them is the shot caller is king. If we make a choice, if we see something that we can do and we don't tell him and the rest of the team what we're going to do, we're the person that will get shouted at the end or spoken to because we did something and didn't inform the team. I have to inform him. He's got his own game to play. He has to have a moment to be able, between shots, to consider what I've requested and give me permission to do so. By this point, you can see I'm outside of the cap. He's given me permission to do so. He knows where I'm going. My other battleship, the Novo, knows where I'm going. And the other 2 guys on the far side are Clara and Happy Fluffy. They know that my plan now is to go round the island, go into the Bravo cap with the intention of heading over to help them against the destroyer should they need it. My attention is now off the Scharnhorst and the Vlad. Massachusetts and Novo have said they can hold here long enough. They want me to get the Bravo cap back so that we've then got 2 caps. We want to win this fight over at Charlie. We're going to push their battleship out of the cap. We're going to get that. We need to have 2 caps. We want those 2 caps. There's not enough of a points lead at the moment to be able to sit back and say this is over.
Now, I paused it here, too, because here's an opportunity. You've got torpedoes loaded. Why didn't you just turn Luckchuck at the Sharn and then keep going on your way?
Tells people where I'm going.
Okay.
Okay.
Those torpedoes will never hit or do any damage. Like you said, it gives out too much information.
Yeah, I mean, I do launch torpedoes here at the Scharnhorst, and one of them, or 2 of them will hit. One will cause a flood, which is obviously conveyed to the team. But there's no point in loitering around. They were Hail Mary torpedoes, knowing full well that by the next time I get into a position to launch torpedoes, I will be able to. I've got full torpedo spec on the ship because its guns are faster than loading anyway. And the torpedo reload is key because T-22's torpedoes are godlike for this tier. They really are good.
Now you put the Hydro on, figuring in case the Minakaze it was actually in the B cap, you'd catch the next set of torps. Okay.
Yep, and also I just want to be careful in case that Vlad decides he's going to do something stupid and push forwards more and commit to Hydro range. But it may be unneeded, but I prefer to be cautious rather than kind of be caught out. So they're the 2 torpedoes and the 1 flood that's conveyed to the team. At this point, my detection is, well, I get detected by the Vlad, so I'd realise I've got to stop off here, got to put the brakes on, got to think about him. I need to think about deterring him. What's he doing? He's turning in towards the beach and the rocks over on the Bravo cap. Just want to get a little bit more confirmation that he's committing to that turn, which I do.
And this is the part where you're
slowing down.
Yeah, and then you follow the white line, and he beaches right after you shoot. You know, and that was one of the big things we commented on, was just wait and see if he beaches or not before you fire.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in the heat of it, I wasn't looking at whereabouts the beachhead was. Should have paid more attention there. It's better to be open and honest than go, oh, well, I didn't think he was going to do that. I wasn't paying attention to that at that point. I'm just thinking there's a blooming huge Russian battleship that is pushing towards me that will eat me alive. I need to do something about it.
What you do in a situation like that is switch to your guns, give the lead that you think he's going to have if he's not going to beach, because if he beaches, you're going to hit a mountain symbol because the game will say already recognize that he's going to beach.
That's actually a very good point. Thank you for that. I hadn't thought of that. Damn, you played the game for 8 years and you learn something new all the time.
And then what you do is you go back to the torps. What I like to do is count to 10 and then launch them, because now the flat's saying, like, if he does have priority target, it's like, okay, he just launched torps. I need to maneuver, and while he's maneuvering, you're actually lining up to his maneuver of becoming unbeached.
Yeah, you want to see how he reacts to you, like lining up shots and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Point taken. Thank you. Okay,
now,
so there I see that he has beached. Okay, maybe I should have got them going a little bit further back because they will miss.
Yeah, because he's going to reverse, and yeah. I think you missed both of those, or all three of those. So here's where I would probably just go and get around the island now. Looks like that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, again, informing my team leader, that's what I'm going to do because of the position of the Vladivostok. Never do anything unless people know what you're going to do. Tell them.
Are you also one of your guys' callers?
Yes, I am.
With the tournament like this, where like time is absolutely crucial, I would do it and tell them what you're doing while you're doing it.
But then I'd be a hypocrite because I spend week after week in between clan battle season training them not to do that, and telling people off for doing such a thing.
I get what you're saying. Trust me, because I'm like,
Yep.
But in something like this, where time is absolutely crucial, you don't have the luxury of the extra 30 seconds of waiting for the yes or no.
I would agree with you, but at that point we were just ticking past the 600 point mark compared to their some 400 points. So we've kind of got a point advantage at that time. And the three things that to win this competition, 3 things you take into account: the time limit, the points, and the caps. You've got to balance those 3 things and make sure that one of those victory conditions is achievable. So here, by taking the longer route, okay, I was able to put in some not useful shots against the enemy DD. Thankfully, our player, Happy Fluffy Tail, was able to take care of it. We've secured the Charlie cap, so we've still got a 1 cap ticking. We're now getting the 2nd cap ticking. All our Massachusetts has to do, unfortunately we've lost the Novo by this point, all our Massa has to do is to defend himself against the Vlad coming around the corner. Thankfully, Scharnhorst has decided to do the stupid thing and take the tour of Torpedo Cove at that point, which he shouldn't have done. If he'd have pushed forward with the Vladivostok, then...
Stop it here, Zach.
Yeah, our Massa would have been in a lot more trouble because he would have been facing 2 battleships rather than just 1 at a time.
There's probably like 3 things you could have done here. 1, stop, wait. Where's the Scharnhorst, right? You know where the Vlad is. You know what the Vlad's going to do. Like, pretty much everybody and our uncle should know what this Vlad's going to do. He's going to come out on your Massachusetts.
Yes.
So the question is, where is Scharnhorst? What is Scharnhorst doing?
Yep.
Stopping here and waiting for the mass to spot the Scharnhorst or not spot the Scharnhorst.
Yep. So
right,
here,
that's letting you know what he's doing to give you a faster route into A, depending on your detectability and Scharnhorst and what's going on.
Okay.
You're kind of set up for that. The other thing is you could turn back in to try to help the Massachusetts by torping the Lennon,
Yep.
or you can take the really scenic route and go to A and just be like, the hell with where the
Yeah.
Scharnhorst is. I'm going to take the really safe route.
Okay, at this point, 1 minute left on the clock, very importantly, 166-point lead. RPF is telling me that or is still pointing towards the Vladivostok. With where I am, if the Scharnhorst pushed straight forwards to go after the Massachusetts with the Vlad, my RPF would not have been pointing in the direction of the Vladivostok. It would have been pointing at the sector behind him. So I would have known that Scharnhorst is just around the corner of this island. So I know that Scharnhorst is doing something strange. I don't know what strange is. Strange is not safe. So at this point, I take the decision, right, I am going to take the scenic route. I inform my team, I'm going to go round the back and into the Alpha Cap. The idea being is then if Massachusetts survives against Vladivostok, who's going to come out by himself, if he survives that and then Scharnhorst makes it round from wherever he is at this particular time, then I'm going to have the ability to get into the A Cap behind them. All 3 caps are taken. All 3 victory conditions are met.
Ironically, if this was me calling for the other team, I would have been telling the Scharnhorst to go around the backside of the Massachusetts, because one, what that actually does is your RPF is pointing at the last known, which is the Vlad, and when the Scharnhorst pops up from behind, you're like, well, crap, I didn't think it was the Scharnhorst, because they're literally on the same square.
Yep.
I also made a critique. The Massachusetts should have just rammed the Vlad, because you guys had the points lead, and that literally just takes the ship out of the game. So that's even less for you to worry about.
And that's why the Vlad didn't ram. Remember, you mentioned that at some point. You're like, oh, the Vlad just has to ram. The opposite.
Yeah.
You see, our Massa player as well, very confident battleship player. As the Massa approached or encroached on him, it was mentioned, take the ram, but Malloway inside the Massa decided, no, I can take him. Or at the very least, I'm going to keep him occupied here long enough, because he was starting to change his direction or change his course a little bit at that particular point, that he can take him. So Malloway took the decision. He's our shot caller. We trust him just as much, if not more so, than we do with Clara and her plays and her abilities. And so we let him make his play. If the Massa gets sank at that particular point, Vlad still has to make the turn to come back into Bravo to block that off. By the time he makes that maneuver, Clara will be around the island where she is, and she will have shots down. So the Massa is going to keep reversing, knowing full well that he's going to have backup crossfire shots coming in from Clara at that point. It was all fully communicated. Everybody knew what was, or the 3 of us knew what was going on at that point. They knew that I was going to take the scenic route because I will stay safe. I mean, I've literally only lost a few hundred hit points at this point, so I'm safe regardless of where the Scharnhorst ends up going. We think eventually he will come out to take care of what's left of the Massachusetts, and so therefore by making sure the DD is going to be safe going into their only cap, it ensures 100% victory. Clara's still got a lot of hit points left at this point. The Vlad is either going to be on his knees or dead, leaving only the Scharnhorst. Scharnhorst secondaries against Atlantic Coast secondaries, and both of them with their main battery guns. Atlantic Coast coming out the winner of that match. I don't care what anybody says. Its secondaries are way more lethal than Scharnhorst's.
Well, with 1 minute, with 1 minute to go, I mean, it's not going to matter. Neither ship is going to die in that situation because both are pretty healthy. So
I mean, that's why I bring up the point of just sit there and wait for the Scharnhorst, because you do have that lovely island to protect you. It's the beyond safe approach due to the time constraints of this, and like.
I know I've mentioned the time many times so far as we've been talking, but actually looking up there at that little clock is kind of the last place that you look when you're playing the game. We play the game via the mini map and then this nice pretty representation of what's going on the mini map. And so looking all the way up there is, in a short battle like this, you don't always look up there to see what the timer is saying. In hindsight, yeah, sure, there's 1 minute going on. I can just go and park against that beach and get the barbecue out and sit down and get the sausages ready for everyone. We like to win, and we like to make sure we're always trying to win.
The big thing is, I think putting what you're saying is to kind of put yourself here, right?
Yeah.
So if you put yourself here, you've got a torp angle on, say the Vlad manages to get the drive-by on Malway, you've got the torp angle on him. And between that and Clara, you ensure a better chance of getting that kill, because when he dies, that's like a 100-point flip.
Agreed. Yep. But then by the same token, that RPF, that could be pointing towards the Scharnhorst at this point. So the Scharnhorst could be just around the corner from that island. So I hang around there. All right, I'm going to get torpedoes off at the Scharnhorst, but if he's coming around there full pelt, there's a chance his maneuverability will allow him to turn out the way of the torpedoes, not take all of them, and take me out. Then all of a sudden, what is an assured win is hanging in the balance. It then requires Clara to have to be the one to carry and win the game. It's better to have as many ships alive as possible. So by taking the DD, the scenic route round to the Alpha Cap, it ensures that they've got no way of winning. They can't get into both caps. They're not going to be able to find me if I go behind that island on my way to Alpha. So it just kind of ensures the victory condition, ignoring the clock at the top, because I was not looking at that, rightly or wrongly.
Right.
Now,
And
I get the clock thing, but like I bring some of this up because ironically, we actually saw a draw today because somebody decided to turn their ship instead of getting into the cap.
they tried to get a torpedo off. So,
Like
you know,
I
wanna-
get nobody's used to this 10-minute game, but clock manage like I'm not saying you guys are horrible with it, but like clock management for this is very essential to wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
we know that.
I want to highlight something here, and that is you have 2 dead players that are in the game. This is something that we did in Kraken when we did clan battles. If somebody is dead, one of the people is focusing on just the numbers. They're looking at the points, they're looking at the clock, and that's all that they focus on. Is those 2 things. And then we have another player who then, let's say the next person dies, or maybe it's the second person that dies that does that. The first person that dies, typically what we have them do, clan battles, of course, there's 1 battleship usually, or maybe 2. We have them spectate that battleship on the enemy team.
Yep.
Where are their turrets pointed? When are they shooting? Who are they shooting at? Blah blah blah.
Yes.
So I'm bringing that up, not just as feedback for you, as a suggestion as, hey, take back to DSNF, but also for everybody else that is currently listening in, and I mean, there's so much you guys are gleaning from this replay, so I'm glad we did this. But that's another really good trick to have, is to make sure, especially in these short games, instead of having somebody just watching or walking away, going to the bathroom because they're dead. No, keep them focused on the game. Give them a task to complete, so that the entire team does better, right?
Fully accepted. One of the things that we'd faced today, unfortunately, was that several teams had to forfeit inside Group 2. Now, obviously, the teams which were around all benefited from getting the same number of points from there. But we'd been sat around at this particular point for about an hour and a half with nothing to do whatsoever. And attention spans had started to waver. We'd then also been asked by the moderators, which we agreed to wait until more streamers arrived, because if we won this match, we would be the only team that had won every single game they'd played in during the day. We wanted to have that accolade against us, not least because we're trying to retain the championship, but we figured it would make good content as well for you guys as streamers. And at the end of the day, we've picked your faction purely because you've got a cat, I've got a cat, and our shot caller's got a cat as well, so why not? It's a loose link, and also you're a super tester, and 2 of us are super testers as well. So we figured, Zath is the team to go for. You're a great streamer as well.
Oh,
Big
thanks.
plug for the channel. You're welcome.
I guess it's time for me to go find a dog streamer.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
the teams could choose the streamer. I thought they were just randomly drawn. That's interesting.
I think some of them were randomly drawn who hadn't selected a preference, but when we signed up the sign-up sheet, there was the ability to choose a preference, and it was between you and Stats, but it's you every time. Stats doesn't show off his cat on the stream. And not only that, I've seen your streams before for previous competitions. I like your style. I like the way you do it. I like the feedback that you give to players. So it was kind of a no-brainer to go with Zaf. And thankfully, our other team, DSNF2, they also chose yourself as well. I think.
Saw that, and they didn't play today, so I guess they'll be playing tomorrow.
They will, but both of us will be playing tomorrow and hoping we don't meet each other.
I was looking for that today. I'm like, all right, DSNF Civil War, where is that? I was getting ready to, and then I'm like, where the heck are these guys? Because when we were making our choices, I had to clear it with beer because I didn't know if I could do it or not. But
Mhm.
I wanted to cast the teams that signed up for me, right?
Yeah.
Or that I was assigned to. Like I said, I didn't realize you chose me. So thanks for that. But,
Mhm.
I'm like, I want to cover Zatlandia teams, as many of those as I can. And then from there, after I've insured each one of those, I'm gonna go pick some other teams that I know are gonna be fun, like Bao2 and SFSO. Like, okay, that's a
Yeah.
rematch from so many seasons, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Um,
We all sat down and watched that.
yeah. Can I just ask before we continue? Did you ask Malway for a spotter plane at this point?
No.
Okay, because that would have been a ton of information, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain he makes the decision himself to launch the spotter plane. I have a good recollection of him saying, "I'm going to launch a spotter."
He does.
But yeah,
And he had launched the plane, and once he launched, you can't go back and say, okay, well, was this consumable available for a certain amount of time? But that was a comment that I was going to make, and then he popped the plane, so I couldn't go back and be like, yo, dude, it's ready, come on.
Mhm.
So that would be he would know better if it was available or not. But this is a prime time for those of you watching as well. Put the spotter up, it'll orbit the island. The important thing is you commented so much on that Scharnhorst. You didn't know what he was going to do, and I would agree with you. If that Scharnhorst miraculously appears over here, you're dead. Like if
Yeah.
you come out of this island, like you're dead. So having that knowledge, that vision would have been so crucial.
yes. Yeah,
Anyway, let's
it was a
continue.
blind spot that we had. He identified it quite rightly. So
Yeah.
there we see the Vlad Scharnhorst that crops up. Okay, at this point, I've got the option. I can make the turn directly into Alpha. Well, that's be a silly thing to do because I'll just end up in detection range of the Scharnhorst. So the original plan stands: take the scenic route around the island. Gonna try to see if I can get torps off on him, even though the predictor is saying he's going all of the way around and I've missed him. Might as well launch them anyway. You never know; he might slow down for some reason or turn in and catch them. So speculative. Now I see he's 7 kilometers away. I don't even want to take the chance. I don't want to be the last person to die on the stream for the day. So I'm going to carry on going. I'm going to carry on going the scenic route.
And you feel comfortable enough. I mean, looking at the scores, even if there is even if your Massachusetts dies, right, and the Vlad lives,
Yeah.
that's a 100-point swing. That's not enough to call the game. And here's another example of, if you're aware of the clock, that's an even better reason just not look at it.
Yeah.
When I was
In-
casting this, sorry, go ahead.
In 5 seconds, the voice of our Novo player is going to say 30 seconds to the wing guys. So we're aware. He does tell us what's going on at that particular point. We also like to give each other enough time to play. We've done this enough times. We've seen the plays happen before. Vlad is going to do one or two things: ram or try and get the drive by.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, and when Put and I were casting, we were looking at it and saying this is so close because if he loses, but even then, it's not as close as we were thinking it. So, yeah. Oops.
Yeah, As I say, 3 victory conditions. One of them is complete by this point. The points win. It's inassailable. So
Yeah.
we're aware of that. Massa's going to try his heroic play against Vlad, gets away with it. If the game had gone on for a bit longer, Scharnhorst would have come around the corner, finished Massachusetts, another 2 or 3 minutes, and yes, they would have had one more of our ships dead, but they still wouldn't have been in either of the 2 caps which we control. Victory is assured by this point.
So I wanted to pause it here too because, I mean, yes, I understand your feeling about taking it safe, but I don't see why. Hold on, because of the UI goes nuts. Why you couldn't just shadow the Scharnhorst? And what I mean by shadow is you put yourself closer and you watch what the Scharnhorst does. You have a smoke available, right?
Mhm.
If the Scharnhorst is going to continue to speed behind the island, you can slowly creep up. As soon as he goes behind the island, he's not a threat to you. You can just go straight into the A cap.
Agreed. Had the
He's on the other
points
side.
Had the victory condition required us to stop the ACAP ticking, then yeah, possibly could have done that. There wasn't. The main thing to do is to stay safe and not die at this point, because victory is assured. There's no point in taking the unnecessary risk. Had it been that they had 2 caps and the points were reversed, and knowing full well that I needed to get that cap to stop their victory, then yeah, I probably would have made that particular play or made that choice to do. But probably best that I didn't, because, well, you see where I die. I'm not going to get around there, but I am perfectly safe. Some pointless shots over Vlad to say, "Yoo-hoo, I'm over here." And that's it. Game over. Day finished. We finished top of the group. We get maximum points.
Yeah, you got all the points.
Yeah, and we're in a good mood to end the day and get ready for tomorrow. So it's a nice place to leave it. Not stressful. There's no point in... If that had been earlier in the competition or in the playoffs, then yeah, shadowing the Scharnhorst and making the rush over to A when it was available would have been the better move to actually take. But we didn't have that pressure on us, so we didn't have to make that particular call. But fully understand all of the points, and I understand all of the reasons for the questions that both of you had over the way that we played. We have our own particular way and style of playing and calling and communicating to each other. We put all of those to best effect inside this game. I'm happy with how the team performed. We walk away with the victory. Everybody was happy and smiling by the end of it, because we'd all played the way that DSNF plays. Communicate well, no extraneous chatter, say what you want to do, get confirmation to do it, then do it.
No, it's
I
great.
mean, at the end of the day, you guys won. Like,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, our team name is Drunk Sailors Never Fail. And so that's the way we kind of go into each of the games. Just what the hell, go for it, but have fun, but at least tell somebody that you're going to the bar to buy the next round.
I mean, you know, and that's what's so fun about this tournament. And I think I even commented on it after the game was over. I said, hey, look, you know, these guys have the most points out of anybody else. Clearly, they're doing something right. And I think that's a big part of when you do competitive as a team. It takes a while, but you have to spend a lot of time on building that cohesion. You guys have a certain way you do things, and it's different from others. That's okay if it works for you, and clearly it's working for you.
It is. I mean, thankfully, over the last 2 seasons of clan battles, we've been consistently doing well in Typhoon, which has been a new thing for the clan. I've been leading the team leading and building the team for 4 years now, and we may not be the highest win rate or highest stat players in the game on the EU server. But from playing with other teams that are very well respected and play well, they tell us that our communication is something they're jealous of, and the way that we communicate. And so I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of all of my players for the way they played today, especially with the delays in between games. Sometimes people's minds can wander. Looking and watching the various streams kept us somewhat focused. Had we got to play all of the games today, you would have seen more crazy lineups. The match before this, we used an FR25, where I did a nice smoke run on an Atlantico. Got away with it, lost the DD, but the battleship was taken care of, which left Clara in the clear to do what Clara does. And so, yeah, we're not above pulling some wacky tactics, but this competition, we've played enough to have confidence that we've seen most of what the enemy teams can do against us. And so we're pretty clear on our tactics and our ship lineups, knowing that each of our players might not be the absolute best ship to take, but it's the best ship to put that player in. It's a ship that that player can exploit and make work for them and how they individually play. And I see that as being very important when you're putting a team together. As you get into Typhoon and edge towards Hurricane, maybe you have to go more towards the meta selection, because that's what the other team are going to take, and they play those ships so much better than maybe you do. But at the level we play at, I prefer my players to be in ships that they enjoy playing and that they play well, that brings out the best in them.
Well, I gotta say, I'm jealous, because that's one of the reasons I stopped playing clan battles, because I kept being told to play whatever ship that I just didn't like. And
No.
where's the fun in that? So,
Come and play.
you know,
Come and play with us one night on the EU
That's-
server, and you can bring whatever you want. That's not a problem.
you
We'll
go.
work with it.
and I mean, and that's the right attitude to have. So, hey, thank you for joining us. It was very fun going through the replay. I learned a bunch. Puddin learned a bunch. Chat, I have a feeling you guys learned a bunch as well. And it was great.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me over. And yeah, we'll look forward to watching your stream again tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. You too, Pudding, as well. Take care, mate.
All right. Good luck tomorrow, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.